So nobody here. It's really eerie to see the town this quiet. Nobody out. Just so weird to see this. I mean, look at this. Hundreds of stores closed, barely any cars out. This is the height of our season. Look at that. It's Thursday, March 19th, 2020. Economic hell is coming to the United States. Let me repeat, economic hell is coming to the United States of America. I'm down here in Palm Desert, California on El Paseo. This is the Rodeo Drive of the desert. It is quite literally a ghost town. These small business owners, small restaurant owners, they are absolutely being obliterated right now. And are they going to get a bailout? No. Will they be able to borrow money from the US government? Yes. Will the big boys, the big corporations like the casinos and the resorts and the cruise ships and the airlines and the automakers and now the movie theaters, they're going to get the bailouts. They're going to get the free money. These people right here, they're not going to get help. They're not going to get the bailouts. And I feel so bad for the small business owner in America, the engine of America. These people are being hurt so severely now with what is taking place. You know, it was only a couple weeks ago, we were being told that this is the greatest economy in history, that the American consumer has never been stronger, that unemployment is at a 50-year low, everything is great. Isn't it funny? Fast forward a couple weeks, look where we're at right now. We have a country with zero growth, zero. We have a country now where there is no income, and a country now where people cannot get a job. We're going to see massive unemployment, big layoffs coming to America. Isn't it funny what can happen in just in 2 weeks? And you have to think, how strong was this economy if just 2 or 3 weeks of this infection, where there's been some shutdowns, that it's had this much effect? You know, why didn't these big corporations, why didn't they have a cash reserve to fall back on? How come these companies are so broke that they can't even deal with a couple weeks of bad business? Where are the reserves? Where's the cash? You know, we're going to see the same repeat of '08, where the automakers and big corporations and the banks and you name it, these guys are going to fly in on their private jets with their silver cups, and they're going to ask for the bailout. And we're just going to give everybody free money, the corporations, and they're going to send you the crumbs. They're going to send you your $1,000 check and wish you the best of luck. So as Steve Mnuchin said, you can just go to McDonald's, order your Big Mac in the drive-thru. We're going to make sure we leave the fast food restaurants open for you. You can drive in, get your Big Mac, and be on your way. So as we watch the nationalization of America take place right before our very eyes, as we're finding out that the economy wasn't as strong as we've been told, and as we're finding out we're not really prepared to deal with emergencies in America, like a financial collapse, like this infection, CDC says nurses, this came out today, the CDC says nurses can now use scarves and bandanas. I mean, ask yourself how prepared we really are for an emergency. The CDC is telling nurses you can use your scarf and bandana to protect yourself. How does that make you feel? So how prepared are we for an economic collapse, the one that you're starting to witness take place? How well prepared is this country to soften the blow? If they're as prepared as the CDC is telling us, we're in very, very big trouble. So I'm reading an article here today, right here on Axios. 96% of small business owners are already feeling the impact. And down here today on this beautiful afternoon, partly cloudy, about 70 degrees here in Palm Desert on El Paseo, 95% of the stores are shut down. Restaurants, bars, 95%, it's all shut down. So there is real hemorrhaging taking place here with people that own these stores and restaurants, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Zero Hedge today. Fed boost daily QE by 66% overnight to record $75 billion in one day. That's $75 billion of U.S. Treasury bonds, and they're going to do it again tomorrow. So $75 billion today in Treasury bond purchases and another $75 billion in Treasury bond purchases tomorrow. This is more than what they were purchasing in 1 month. They were purchasing $60 billion a month. Now they're going to purchase $75 billion today, which they've already done, and $75 billion tomorrow. So the economy's not doing as well as they were telling you. Bailout nation. U.S. movie theaters join airlines, hotels, and restaurants in demanding taxpayer bailout. Demanding taxpayer bailout. You know, they're going to just tell us that if we don't bail these companies out, America's done. You know, they're going to use the scare tactics that we've got to do this for the good of the people, for the good of the country, like they always do. You know, I say if you're a corporation, a bank, a company, whatever, if you made bad loans, if you took all your money, $4.5 trillion in buybacks, you get what you deserve. Let these companies fail, and let the companies that didn't do this, that don't have the massive debt, let those companies come in and take their place. You know, this is just pure nationalization taking place, and these companies are being rewarded for the bad behavior that they committed. So what a strong economy. A few bad weeks, and corporate America now needs to fly in their private jets and demand a bailout because they have no money. And they propped up the stock market with corporate buybacks, and now that rainy day has come and they're not ready for an emergency. So the answer is just get it from the taxpayer who is living paycheck to paycheck, who doesn't have $400 saved up, who is just living from hand to mouth. And now we're going to bail out movie theaters on top of airlines, public transportation, hotels, restaurants, and don't forget Boeing. You know, to the haters out there that say I just make this stuff up, I'm trying to panic people. Zero Hedge today. Ford suspends dividend, draws down $15 billion credit line, fully withdraws guidance. Credit freezes are coming. Ford knows it, just like so many other corporations now drawing down on these credit lines. This is a sign that things are going to get much worse, and banks are going to be tightening up. And companies like Ford realize this, and they're going to grab the cash right now because they know that in the near future, they may not be able to get a loan. And when credit starts freezing up here in America, as Ford sees it to be coming, and so many other corporations and companies see the credit freeze coming, when credit freezes up, we're going to have an acceleration in this collapse. And I'm telling you, there are so many things now in the equation that are going to cause so much damage here. Credit freezes, unemployment, the housing bubble is getting ready to burst. We see auto sales plummeting, retail plummeting. Farmers are going to need a bailout. We have a global depression now beginning. And look, you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Could you imagine if there's some kind of major cyber attack, some kind of grid goes down? You know, people are writing me every day that they're seeing bank runs in their areas, that the banks are only letting 1 or 2 people in at a time. Some banks are completely shut the doors, drive-through only. Are they conditioning you for something coming? That kind of scares me when they're only allowing 1 or 2 people or 0 people into the bank. Now you have to use the drive-through. Then it's going to be you have to use the ATM. And then it's going to be you can only get $200 out of the ATM. Then it's going to be you can only get $20 out of the ATM. I cannot stress this enough. If you have money in the bank, be very, very cautious. I would not, repeat, not have too much money in the bank right now. CNBC today. Bank of America says the recession is already here. Jobs will be lost. Wealth will be destroyed. Yes, this is all true. And wealth is being destroyed right now. And I'm witnessing it right here as people, store owners and restaurant owners are being obliterated. And so many people here in America, millions of people are going to feel this. And this is going to put people even deeper into debt. So Bank of America expects the economy to collapse in the second quarter, shrinking by 12%. GDP for the full year will contract by 0.8%. So I don't know what else to tell people when trying to wake people up or warn them. The recession is here, no doubt, and I believe the recession will spiral into a massive depression. The firm expects unemployment rate to double, with roughly 1 million jobs lost each month of the second quarter for a total of 3.5 million jobs. I think it could be much higher than that. But look, this economy is so fragile, and it's a service sector based economy. We don't make anything here. We don't manufacture anything here. So we're really, really in a vulnerable place here, and people are really, right now, really beginning to feel pain. And they were already feeling the pain a year ago, 2 years ago. We know that this economy, people that really are honest with themselves, people who are working hard every day, are working 2 or 3 jobs. Many of you are working 2 or 3 jobs. Many people, working their 30-hour work week and having to go work for Uber or Lyft or a side hustle or 2 side hustles just to keep their heads above water, trying so hard. People having to move in together. Okay, this is the reality of the economy that we're in. And if it's this bad right now, heading into a global depression, imagine how bad it's going to get. People are going to feel severe pain. And this is why I stress daily that you are preparing, that you are cutting things out of your life, making some sacrifices, because you need to be prepared for what's coming. Tuesday, Morgan Stanley said a global recession in 2020 is now its best case. Wall Street Journal today, and guys, look this stuff up. New claims, unemployment claims last week jumped to 288,000 from 211,000 the week earlier. This is just a preview of things to come. And remember, if one person in the household loses a job, it's going to be big, big trouble. And the homeless epidemic we see in America is going to be an epidemic on steroids. So many people are going to become homeless because of these job layoffs, because of this economy. We're just witnessing the beginning, just the beginning. Nearly 20% of households have already lost work due to the shutdowns. Going to get worse. Wall Street Journal. Consumers face massive credit crunch. Lenders are still figuring out what to do. Wall Street Journal today. So look, I'm not trying to instill panic. I'm just trying to instill knowledge, trying to instill preparation, just trying to help you open your mind and see what's really going on. Don't believe everything the television is telling you. Don't believe everything the analysts on these business shows are telling you. They suckered people in for years into the housing market. They suckered people in for years into the stock market. And now it's all blowing up. And people, unfortunately, are going to pay the price for, what the 1% did, propping up these markets. The 1% that did these corporate buybacks, propped up these markets, are out of these markets. Most of these big CEOs, most of these big bankers, they're sitting heavy in gold, hard assets, farms, ranches, bunkers, homes and properties and ranches outside of America, private jets, boats, lots of gold, lots of food, lots of hard tangible assets. They've cashed out. And the 99% are going to pay the price for for what the 1% did. Your pensions, your 401ks, your IRAs, your money markets, your futures are going to get obliterated, wiped out because of what the 1% did. But people stood by watching basketball games and football, watching their cartoons, watching the reality TV, not paying attention. Not paying attention when the fox was in the hen house. And a lot of people are going to get what they asked for. They thought that nothing bad could happen. They put their trust in the financial institutions. They put their trust in the Fed. And now they're going to get wiped out. And look, I don't take any pleasure in the pain. I love this country. I do not want to see people suffer, but I try to wake up family members, friends, anybody that would listen, because I could see the crimes that were taking place. I could see the Ponzi scheme that was being played. So while people, smoke their little vape pens and drink their lives away and wandered off into their little fantasy land bubbles, this is what's going to happen now. And when you just stand by and let this take place and don't say anything or do anything, you pay the price. And unfortunately, millions of people will pay the price. Consumers may face the biggest credit crunch since the Great Depression. People are going to be missing payments on mortgages. They're going to miss payments on their credit cards. They're going to miss payments on their auto loans, all sorts of loans. And they're going to default on these loans. They're going to lose their houses. They're going to lose their cars. They're going to lose everything that they worked for. And again, this is why I stress not to have a lot of debt, because when the bad times come, like they are now, you can't keep your head above water. Delinquencies and defaults will affect people's credit. Their credit ratings are going to get hurt. Their ability to borrow money for years to come is done. It's just going to be wiped out. Your credit will be destroyed, because right now, when you lose your job, when there's no money coming in, the first thing you're going to do is try and eat and feed your family and keep the lights on. The house isn't going to get paid for, the boat payment's not getting paid for, the car payment's not getting paid for. Nothing's getting paid for except keeping the lights on and keeping food in the house for you and the kids. And what happens when that runs out? We are going to see some real big issues, a real nasty situation take place here in America. People are going to have to cut a lot of things out. Now they're going to make sacrifices, but the time to make sacrifices was years ago. But now people are going to cut out the gym memberships. They're going to, cut out cable TV. They're going to cut out going to dinner. They're going to cut out buying things that they don't need. Maybe they're going to cut out the weekend trips to Las Vegas. It's going to force people to cut a lot of things out, but for many people, it's going to be too late. This is stuff that people should have been cutting out years ago. And again, I've always warned, if you're a debt slave, if you have massive amounts of debt, when this tsunami comes in, it's going to sweep you out to sea and you're going to drown, drowning in the debt because you're carrying too much debt. Too many people worried about how they look on social media. Too many people worried about what kind of car they drive. You've got to have a specific emblem on that car to impress people they don't even like. And now they're going to pay a severe price, and I hope that that's not you. I know most people watching this video have been preparing for a very, very long time. And look, my life hasn't changed at all. I'm not waiting in line at a store. I haven't missed a meal. I'm not living in panic or shock. My life hasn't changed. In fact, I'm actually more relaxed than ever, because I don't really go out that much because I don't have to. I feel sorry for the people who did not wake up a couple years ago. And I repeat it many times. If you're not doing it for you, do it for your family, do it for your kids, because when your kids don't have electricity, when your kids don't have any food, when your car gets taken away, you are going to be in a world of hurt. And look, we don't know. This thing could bounce back tomorrow, next week, 2 weeks from now. Everything's back up and running, and we avoid a really bad situation here for the time being. But let me stress this collapse, no matter what happens this week, next week, or the week after, is not going away. If this thing doesn't collapse within the next 30 to 60 days, what says it's not going to collapse 6 months from now or a year from now? You may get a lucky break if you haven't been preparing. Take every day to get prepared. And if you haven't started, start today the best that you can, because maybe they do print enough money. Maybe they do pull a rabbit out of their hat for the time being. It will be temporary. Take advantage of it and get prepared. Get the debt paid off. And if they can't save this, it's going to be too late for millions of people. We have around 80,000 homeless people in LA County. Right here in Palm Desert, in the Coachella Valley, we have thousands of homeless people. As we all know, this infection, many people think it's nothing. Many people think it's very bad. The verdict is out. I don't know. But we have a lot of homeless people, at least here in California. And if this thing gets into the homeless community, it is going to be absolutely lights out. And so we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So we don't know if a grid goes down, we get a cyber attack, we could have an earthquake. Anybody could have an earthquake now. They're happening all over the country, all over the world. Why aren't you preparing? So I'm going to wrap it up right here today, and I will leave you with this. All we can do right now is to do what we've been doing. Keep doing what you have been doing. Keep topping off preps. Be your own asset. Keep fine-tuning your skills. Most of all, be walking close to God. Be praying to God. America needs a miracle, period. We are heading into the worst depression the world has ever seen. We are a debtor nation. When you look at the amount of debt in America, when you include unfunded liabilities like Medicare, Medicaid, unfunded pensions, we're probably looking at around $200 trillion of debt. The collapse is knocking at the door, and nothing and nobody is going to stop it. And maybe this is what America needs. Maybe this is the wake-up call to America. Maybe some people need to feel the pain. Maybe people now have to get out of their reality TV bubbles. Maybe people need to get off the computer. Maybe they got to get off their phones. Maybe they got to wake up and start paying attention to the criminality that has taken place, the theft of their pensions, the theft of Social Security, the theft that has taken place on Wall Street. Look, your futures have been robbed. Your 401ks, your IRAs, your money markets, your retirements have been robbed. People have trusted these financial institutions, the big banks, the too big to fails. Well, they're failing again, and they're coming to you for the next bailout. The biggest wealth transfer the world has ever seen. And maybe when people can't eat, maybe that's when they wake up. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just calling it the way I see it. But it seems to me as long as people have football and reality TV and their vape pens and beer, life goes on, no big deal. You can rob them blind. But the minute that they don't have food is when it all changes. What's going to happen when people find out that their pensions don't exist any longer? We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm going to leave it right there. God bless every one of you. Please pray for this country. We need a miracle.